It's the season for brand new mulch, and Brown's Tree Service has got your yard covered. Brown's Tree Service utilizes hardwood mulch that retains more moisture. Not only does mulch make your yard more appealing, it also reduces weeds, improves soil, and creates insulation for plants. Get the right mulch for your job at Brown's Tree Service. They shred it, haul it, and spread it in bulk. Or you can haul it yourself for the personal touch to your property. Call Brown's Tree Service at 785-379-9212 or visit online at brownstreeservicelc.com.
When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Preferred Advisors.
Good Saturday morning to you. This is Carrie Brown, Associate Broker with eXp Realty and the Preferred Advisors team, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. I am here today with a pretty familiar to me guy because I'm married to him, Troy Brown. He owns Brown's Tree Service here in town. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing early in the morning, Carrie?
He knows that I don't like to get up really early, but I stay up really late. So, in my defense, I'm not an early bird. I am a night owl.
Okay.
He just doesn't sleep. Actually, he falls asleep and takes a nap before he comes to bed. But anyway, you guys don't need to know all that. So, Mr. Brown, tell us about these bagworms hanging all over the place.
They're extremely bad this year. They've been on the deciduous trees more than they have the junipers and the cedars, which normally is what they bother, the wind rose. It's not out of the ordinary. It's just it don't happen like this very often, but it's not uncommon to see them on the deciduous trees, but they've been really bad this year. They're about over with, I do believe.
So we can stop seeing them hanging from umbrellas and car doors and hanging in the wind. And
well, the old bag will hang there until someone pulls them down and they finally fall off, but the worm is gone, so they're done eating. So if you got bags hanging on your furniture and stuff, they're not going to go away till you pick it up and throw it in the trash can.
So the little suckers just leave their homes and leave it just hanging there?
Yep, they turn into a moth and fly away.
How rude. All right, so we have had a ton of rain. Does that affect tree roots at all?
Yes, when the ground gets saturated, it's not uncommon to see a tree just uproot and fall over, because the root systems won't actually hold. It can't grip anymore, basically. So if you got one that's leaning real bad or something, it's usually when we see them uproot. And then you put a little wind with them. When it's saturated like this, you'll really get them uprooting. So there's not really anything you can do to prevent it. You just got to hope for the best.
And hope it stays away from your house and your cars. So if you do have an iffy tree in your yard, what would be your advice?
You can give us a call. We can send one of the estimators out to evaluate the situation. They'll tell you the best thing to do, whether you got anything to worry about or not. If you're really that worried about it, you give us a call and we'll come out and take a look at it. Really can't do anything over the phone or with pictures. It's hard to tell. Kind of really got to see the whole situation of the tree and the location, and you got to look at it in person, basically.
And you don't charge for estimates, right?
No, we don't.
So you get free advice. So let's talk about ownership of a tree, because in my industry, that's the calls that I get, and everybody knows that I'm married to a tree dude, so they call me. But let's say, for instance, the root ball itself, so the actual tree is planted in one person's yard, but say an iffy limb is hanging over the fence onto someone else's yard. Who technically gets to claim that iffy limb?
The property line extends all the way up into the air. So whatever the property line is, that's the part of the tree you own. So if the tree is right on the property line, you can either own 25% of the tree, 50%, or 75%, depending on the property line. If the tree's all the way off the property line, you have the legal right to trim it. We get into this situation a lot ourselves where the neighbors are like, he won't take care of his tree, cut that limb off. And we hate to do it. I mean, we don't like going there and hack a tree up. So it's best if the neighbors work together and just figure out the right solution for it. especially if it's a good, healthy tree. You want to treat it right because you don't want to even hack it up, and it's going to cause problems for you again later down the road if you do it wrong.
So do you see that pretty often?
A lot. And I've seen it ruin friendships with neighbors. It's because the one neighbor says, cut it to the property line, we'll leave a stub. And, yeah, we've got into some pretty nasty neighbor wars. We try to stay on the fence with it.
Literally. And I could see how that could be. You know, you get this really beautiful, mature tree, but at the same time, being neighborly means not having it fall into somebody's roof in the middle of the night, too. So, you know, you'd feel pretty bad if it hurt someone.
Yeah. So if you really don't want your tree butchered up, the best thing you can do is at least get it selectively pruned, prune the tree so it's safe, and then hopefully you can explain to the neighbor, or we can explain to the neighbor that the risk of something happening has been really eliminated. Not completely. There's only one way we can guarantee it's not going to fall on something is when we cut them down.
Absolutely. And so this is a hot topic between he and I, and I often tell him just to, you know, I agree with him, but at the same time, we don't have the bandwidth to pull this off in a transaction. But anytime you have mature trees, they should be looked at as far as, you know, the safety of them. And, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look up and say, hey, this tree looks like it's dead, or it appears to be splitting. Especially when they're close to the house. But I want to hear your opinion on it.
If I was to buy a house somewhere in the middle of old, like Westboro, old part of town, where there's really old mature trees, I would have at least some kind of visual inspection done by an arborist, because there's a lot of defects that you might not know about. There's a lot of things you could say, hey, what's the lifespan of this tree? I mean, I've seen it happen in the past. I know a story, for one, that this big oak tree looked 100% healthy from the front side of the tree, but on the property side, it sat on a cliff, so nobody went on the back side. Well, I walked around that back side because I dropped a tool down there, and I was able, when I came back up the hill, I could walk into the base of that tree. I just stepped right into that trunk of that tree. It was that hollow. And the house got sold, and I don't think the new owners know that about 10 years later, I got a phone call on it, hey, this tree's rotten. So, it's something I would at least get a visual inspection done on, so we can come by from the ground, do an overall review of them. I mean, most arborists are going to give you some kind of consulting fee for that. But if I had really large mature trees, I would probably get some kind of done through an arborist, not a home inspector. He's not a arborist, so.
Absolutely. And for the record, I did not list or sell that house. So it wasn't me, folks. But I at the same time, I agree with you. But when we do inspections, we do home inspections, we do radon, we do septic and sewer, and trees really haven't ever been on the list of things that get involved unless for some reason you see something that is very questionable. So, and depending on the time of the year, if you're selling in the wintertime, who knows? You know, I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, I'm married to you, and I wouldn't know whether or not that tree was dead or not.
Right.
So that is a good reason to call an arborist.
I've seen that happen before, where the tree, they bought it in winter, and then they said this tree's dead, and they just thought it was dormant. But an arborist can tell you what during the winter whether this tree's dead or alive. So we prune them all the time during the winter, get the dead wood out. We get in the trees, we can get the dead wood and the green separated. It's not really much of an issue. Another story I seen, I think one of our sales guys told these people this tree needs to come down, and the new owner ended up buying it. It was laying on the house when we took it off. So it was not a good deal.
And I did not list or sell that house.
So it's a very, on very mature trees, I don't know that to worry about it on the little ones that much. Your risk with the little trees are a lot less than the really old mature trees. And you may just want to know what it's going to cost when you buy this house, what it's going to cost you to prune them all and get them all cleaned up. So you've got that cost looking forward that you're going to have to spend if you buy this house.
Right, and that's where our disagreements typically come in, because whenever you're dealing with a home, we're looking at the structure and not the landscape. Unless the ground is like pointing the water towards the house, then we have to deal with that. But as far as a home sale is concerned, the parameters have always been around the actual structure itself. Now, granted, I have seen tree roots literally growing into cracks in the foundation. Obviously, that tree needed to come out. But, in the peripheral, around the yard, they just don't really come into play into what we're doing. We're really looking at the structure and the sound of that house itself.
If you're a tree hugger, though, you're buying a house because of the mature trees.
And this is where we have the arguments.
They add value to property, in my opinion.
I don't disagree. It's just when you're looking at it, it would be like going to look at a truck, and that's probably not a good analogy, but a truck in the driveway. You're not going to assess the garage. You're looking at the truck in the driveway. And not so,
Yes, but we do appraisals on them. We can tell you exactly what the value of each tree is. We can break it down. There's a form we use that we fill out. So if you say, hey, what's this tree worth? We can put an actual dollar figure to that tree's worth, to the property. There's
Absolutely.
a form in there that we can use. So if you really just want your tree appraised, we can do that. We've done it for insurance companies where cars hit them. They pay off on them. When a car will total a tree and kill it, the homeowners get paid for it.
Wow, I did not know that.
So, yeah, we actually have a form that we use. It's a legal form. So if you ever really want to know the value of a tree, we can tell you.
Okay, another common question we have is who owns what when it comes to the city? So say, for instance, a tree is in bad repair or has fallen down and it is on the city's easement. Who is the homeowner responsible for taking that out, or is it the city?
The city, they have their own forestry crew, and they take care of the city trees. So if there's a storm and the trees fall in the street, the cities come by and clean it up. If it's even just a healthy tree, the city easements, and they're all different all over town. Sometimes they're really small, sometimes they're really large. But the city will actually take care of the tree. All you got to do is call the city forest department. Say, hey, I'd like to have you come out and clean this tree up, raise it up, trim it, and they'll get you on the list. And they just keep circling. Their crews are always out working. So they take care of that, and sometimes I believe that if the city tree falls in your yard, they will clean it up too. But technically, they call that an act of God. Wherever a tree lands and falls, that's the new owner. So God decided you needed a tree in your yard. That's where he put it. So they call that an act of God. We run into that a lot during storms where they'll fall on the neighbor's house, and the neighbors, they always think the tree owner's insurance is going to pay for it. Whoever's house it falls on is the insurance is going to pick up. So if you do get in a situation where you get a tree fall on your house, don't wait for the neighbors, because it's your responsibility. Get your house preserved. Call your insurance company right away. Get your pictures taken, and then get us called, and we get out and get it taken care of.
And you guys deal with a lot of insurance companies that call you also.
Oh, yeah. We definitely do a lot of insurance work. We've been picking them off houses since I was a kid, so.
Yep. It seems like weekends is when it happens, because it never fails. We'll be out working in our own yard, and all of a sudden your mom will call and say, hey, Troy's got an emergency. He's got to go.
Yep.
And off he goes.
Never fails. It's always on the weekend.
Always weekends.
We don't. Everybody thinks we always like the little windstorms. We don't like it. We're busy year round, and it just messes their schedule up. So if you're sitting there waiting on us, then all of a sudden it throws us behind every time we get these little windstorms. And of course, if you're without power, you got a tree on your house, you'd want me to come get you instead of doing your normal tree work and waiting. So it just really screws the schedule up.
Yeah, I walked in the office the other day and I asked Jason how it was going, and he said, another windstorm. How do you think it's going? And then there's rain. And I said, okay, forget I asked.
No, it just messes us up. It gets us all out of order, and, we don't really make any more money on them either, so it's not a good thing for us.
Yeah, but, it needs to be done. Okay, so I get in trouble for this all the time. People ask me what a tree is, and I'll send him pictures, and he's like, I don't know. I can't tell from a picture. So I can't get away with it either. But let's say, like, for instance, I have one right now that the lady that was living there, she has to be in Master Gardeners. If she's not, she should be. She has a bunch of beautiful plants and a bunch of very young trees. But the people that are looking at the property have a dog that eats everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to eat it. And as most people know, a lot of plants are toxic to animals. So if, for instance, that should take place, and say this lady wasn't here to answer that question, is that something that you guys would be able to answer, or how do you recommend that they go out and figure out what those trees are?
The trees, again, that's kind of a consulting deal. We can come out and do a walk around, consult you with what you got in your yard. That's where I was getting at earlier. I mean, when you're buying a house with something like that, you're going to want to know. I mean, I would. If you didn't know, what are you getting into with this yard? I mean, yeah, we can do some consulting. We need to get Adam or Paul out. Sometimes Brownell will still go out, but I don't do much of the consulting. I'll do a little bit of it. Usually I'll let them guys handle it. But, yeah, we can come out, walk the yard, and kind of give you advice of what you got, what you're looking at in the future, and the plants, some of the ornamental stuff, the flowers and stuff like that. I'm not going to be able to help you out a lot. Adam knows a lot of those, and so does Brownie. Paul probably knows a little bit of it, but, we've always got someone that knows or know how, or we'll figure it out if we don't know.
Not to mention the fact Facebook is like a good resource, especially if you go out and you look for the Master Gardener groups and stuff like that. I've posted things before and had my answer in like 2 seconds. Google is also good. We're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back to talk more about trees.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
At SportsMomsUnited.com, we celebrate every athlete and support every sports mom. SportsMomsUnited.com is on a mission to put logic back in youth sports. When you ask young athletes why they play sports, their number one answer is fun. For them, that means being on a team, making new friends, having a good time, all of which are awesome memories. We add to the memories by featuring an athlete of the day and sharing their story. Nominate an athlete today at www.sportsmomsunited.com.
Thanks for joining us again. This is Carrie Brown, Associate Broker with eXp Realty and the Preferred Advisors team, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. I am back with my husband, Troy Brown, the owner of Brown's Tree Service. Thanks for joining me, Troy.
Well, you're welcome.
I didn't even have to twist his arm. He grumbled a little.
Okay, it's getting easier.
I mean, I've been making him do it for almost 5 years now. I don't know why he didn't just say okay.
You've been trying for about 6 months now, right?
Nah, I just passively suggest it. We've been on some pretty heavy subjects, so I thought, let's lighten it up a little bit. Okay, so obviously it has been raining just an epic amount. I think I saw this morning someone said it had been somewhere around 7 inches that they'd received over the last couple of days. Have you heard the actual count? Inches?
I have. I think he said 5 to 7 yesterday, something like that. And then I think it was for the month, we were the 4th wettest July without this last one. So we might have moved up. The 14th wettest is where we were without this last round. We might have got up into the 9th wettest or something like that. I haven't heard for sure.
That's just insane. Later today, we're supposed to be having our daughter's graduation party at the house, and we've been doing tons of landscaping and stuff, so we have mud. We have mud in a lot of places.
Well, some places we don't have mud because with this rain, the mud is now in the creek, and we're back down to rock.
Right. This is true.
I was looking at it this morning. It's washed out and rock. I mean, some of the dirt we stuck down is gone. So,
speaking of dirt, you guys are doing dirt now, right?
Yes, we've this year started selling topsoil. We've moved our location from Madison out to 2900 Northwest Button Road, and you can call out there and we can get you some topsoil. We deliver it. You can come get it. What we do is we take the screener. We screen it through a trommel screener, so we get it down. It's really fine. And now that it's all wet, we keep it inside of a big Quonset hut so we can load you out dry topsoil, even though it just rained 14 inches this week or whatever we got. So it's pretty nice. Usually, we've never been completely out yet. I'm wondering if it's not going to hurt us a little bit because it's too muddy to screen more topsoil. So, and it's not going to be very hot next week, so it's not going to dry up. But we'll sell it until we run out, and we can get you some more. So hopefully we got quite a bit stacked up in the building. It's just we'll see how long it lasts. So, but with all the washouts, I'm sure there's going to be some flooding happen, and someone's going to need some more dirt around their house. Flower beds got washed out. Just about everything got washed out.
Which I know I've seen quite a bit where people are talking about water in their basements. I am not a foundation person. Let's make that clear. But after all of these years and meeting with a lot of foundation guys, your gutter downspouts being properly extended away from the house, your gutters being clean, having adequate dirt around the foundation of your house so that it's actually built up in a mound going upwards instead of downwards towards the house will help significantly in keeping water out of your basement. Absolutely, it's been a torrential downpour, so I don't know that, anybody has totally gone unscathed, but those things help significantly. So if you do need dirt, be sure and give them a call. Speaking of which, what's the phone number?
785-379-9212.
So you can be sure and give them a call.
Yep. And then that's 2900 Burton Road. We are letting you walk in and pay. Just got to mask up because of COVID. We keep it dry, and we try to keep the building full. So when it's wet like this, it's a good place it's a good resource to go get you some topsoil, and we can deliver it to you. So.
You do mulch also.
Yes, we got back into the mulch business. I did that years ago when I kind of slacked off of it, and now we're doing mulch. So with that trommel screen and the mulch too as well, we take and screen that mulch, and we get the fines out of the mulch. So maybe you just want on your gardening, you just want some fines to add into your garden, till it in, and it helps fertilize your garden. It breaks down and helps your soil later in your garden. So we can start selling them fines next year probably. And it makes the mulch a little bit better looking when the fines are out of it. We're selling some mulch without the fine or with the fines in it. If you want it's a little cheaper.
So if you need either one of those, that's where you go.
And then next year on the mulch too, as well. Hopefully by spring we will be selling colored mulch if that's what you're interested in. Right now we're just got the double ground hardwood mulch, which I like it. Some people want the colored stuff, which is fine. I think it's better for your garden if the non-colored stuff actually breaks down a little bit better, fertilizes your plants. That's what mulch is good for instead of the gravel.
You guys do deliver mulch also, right?
Yes, we can deliver mulch. Our mulch truck delivers right now 20 cubic yards at a time, so we can get you quite a bit. And there's a delivery fee on top of it, but for the most part, delivery fee, I believe, is $65 unless it gets way out there, and then we just kind of do a little mileage on top of it.
Which is pretty handy. You're not having to lug a lot of bags.
Yes, it's cheaper and more affordable. It's definitely more affordable. You get more mulch for your money than running around with all that bag mulch, and you got all the bag trash and using plastic.
So obviously, tons and tons of rain, storms. We're getting into hurricane season, and I know that obviously Brown's Tree Service has been doing hurricanes since our kids were little. Whenever you guys are doing hurricanes, how does work happen here?
Well, when we're out of hurricane season, when we're into hurricane season, I think Hurricane Charlie, the year before Katrina, was our first one we left for, and that was back in 2004. So, yeah, our kids were little. I remember Dalton he got kind of mad that Dad was gone that long.
Yeah, so. He left me with 3 small kids and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dogs keep you entertained.
Yeah.
Kids keep you busy.
Yeah. I felt like I didn't sleep for months. But you guys keep work going here, right?
Yes, we are gearing up to sending some crews out of town if there's a need for it this year in the hurricane season. I'm actually in the middle of building a new hurricane truck even, so we have extra trucks. That way we'll at least keep 2 or 3 crews working here in Topeka. And we're going to put in a bunch of overtime coming up and make sure we get kind of caught up a little bit. It's nice and cool next week. Try to shorten that wait down on some of the people that have been waiting a little while. So it's going to looks to be a very busy hurricane season. So I would expect a couple of the guys to be gone out of town, but we've got enough help. And speaking of which, we are hiring. If anybody's out there is looking for some help or a little bit of job, I'm taking on experienced help. We got full benefits, 401k, health insurance. 100% paid. So we're a good place to work for. We've been around about 50 years, so we're not going anywhere.
I was just about to say, you've been doing hurricanes so long that literally our last child's graduation party is today. She graduates tomorrow.
Yep.
Which is just crazy to think that at the time, the first one in 2004, we would have had...
She was 3.
Yeah, Cassidy was 3. So
Look at you do the math.
He's making fun of me. I was thinking Cody, so I was going to do all 3 ages, but he just went for Cassidy. But yeah, so she would have been 3, and she's 18 now, so it's been a long time. Obviously been able to balance both here and there all those years, so that's not changing.
And graduation in August is weird, too.
It is very weird. Which, I mean, for her, she's already graduated twice from Washburn, but, you know, you want to have your high school graduation, so thankfully we are at least still able to have it. So that's good, too.
We'll be outside so we can social distance.
Social distance. Yeah, and graduation, I think there's 6 people per family that are allowed to attend. So, you know, it is what it is. Everybody's on the fence on what they believe and what they think, but at the end of the day, we are still controlled by what's going on. So it is what it is, and we're going to watch our daughter. Our daughter came in with 9/11, so she's a tough chick. She can handle anything.
She was born right after 9/11 and graduated with COVID.
Yeah, and a toilet paper shortage. Poor kid. So obviously hurricanes. Talk a little bit about the process. How does that all come into play?
So we don't really do any residential work on hurricanes. We do contract work for the cities. It's FEMA work. We go in and help the cities open up streets and haul all the debris that's stacked on the curb. So we'll haul. I mean, it's like if you've got your house flooded this week. I mean, if you really needed someone to haul some construction, your carpet, and your sheetrock, we could actually send one of our haul trucks by and haul that for you. That's a possibility. If you need it, let us know. We can work something out with you, and we can haul it to the dump for you and save a lot of back work for you. All you got to do is get it to the street, and we can load it. So, but that's basically what we do, and it's all city right-of-way work. We haul tree debris from the streets, construction debris. If the house got damaged enough, they pile all the construction stuff up. I mean, we've seen some pretty bad disasters. Been to a lot of them, and it's a pretty simple process. And then we cut the broken tree limbs down. We'll send buckets down. We'll cut broken limbs, remove the hazardous trees, and we'll get rid of those. And then the knuckle booms, the grapple trucks haul them off. So sometimes they're 3 months, 6 months. I think the last one we was gone 5 months total for Hurricane Michael. I mean,
so this sucker was sending me pictures of short sleeves on a golf course with palm trees in the background, and I was home with snow. And if you don't know, I drive a Camaro, which does not go out of our driveway. It just will not go out of our driveway. And I'm telling him we need to get someone over to blade the drive, and he's like, it's not that bad. I'm like, really?
It was 3 inches.
Still can't get out of the driveway. Anyway.
Yeah, that Facebook picture didn't get a lot of people happy that day.
No, it did not. It's seriously wrong. Don't rub it in, man. Don't rub it in.
Oh, that was in November.
Yeah, it was just wrong is what it was. So anyway, this year, hopefully I get to do some traveling with him, but I'm going to wait till they clean it up just a bit.
You mean electricity and the water's usable?
Yeah, I like, glamping, not camping.
Not all peaches and cream when we're sleeping in trucks because there ain't no hotel rooms to be had.
Yeah, I'm going to wait till after, it's been reserved and I know that there's food, water, and gas.
Yeah. Food shortage, water shortage, and electricity.
Yeah.
It's not all peaches and creams out there.
So he was all worried about not having enough to talk about. Here we are at the end of the show. So give them your phone number and website so they know how to get a hold of you.
Well, 785-379-9212 is the phone number. BrownsTreeServiceLC.com is our website. You can apply online there on the website. You can fill out an estimate sheet on the website and it emails us to it. And the address is at 2900 Button Road. If you just want to walk out, we load up till about 4 o'clock every day. Topsoil and mulch. So it don't hurt to call us first, but come on out.
And if you're looking to buy or sell, be sure and give me a call at 785-213-5188. Our website is preferredadvisorsteam.com or TopekaHomeAdvisors.com, either one. And we'd love to help you. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Carrie Brown team from Preferred Advisors.